everyone, very good evening. I'm Sonal Mittal and I'll be conducting your masterclass on DevOps release management today. Agenda for the class will be to understand DevOps, its release management, DevOps release management, process, strategies, and the different release management tools that you can implement in DevOps. Now, let us discuss at least in brief and then in detail about what is DevOps. Okay, so anybody, what is DevOps, friends? What do you understand by the term DevOps? Is DevOps a team? Is DevOps a tool? Or is it a technology? So, friends, DevOps is a methodology. It's a process. It's a culture actually. It's neither a team, it's neither a tool, it's neither a technology, but a culture that is to be implemented in one's project. DevOps is a methodology where the development team, testing team, and operations team work together. DevOps is all about bringing automation in your manual workflows. DevOps is all about uh, technology changes, use of new technologies, open source tools, wherever there is manual effort involved in your project. That is DevOps. Here, do you see this infinity process, infinity symbol? So DevOps is always talks about continuous process. It talks about continuous development, continuous testing, continuous deployment, continuous release, and continuous monitoring, friends. Isn't it? So DevOps is a process where even the development team, whose main goal is to, they mainly concentrate on agility, that is building new features, writing code for new features, new requirements, right? Wherein the testing team, their goal is to test the new requirements. Both development team, that is the developers, and the tester who form the development team depends upon or focuses on agility, building new things, whereas the operations team always concentrate on maintaining the servers, right, that are provided to the users, maintaining the production environment, ensuring a successful application is given to the users. That's what operations team do. So earlier, friends, when you talk about waterfall model, agile model, dev and ops, they used to work independently. But with DevOps, as you see the name, both of them work together. All the activities happen in a cycle, friends. Each one of them are aware of their own challenges, each other's challenges also, thereby giving faster delivery to the client, quickly releasing the product to the client with higher quality, and less feedback is needed in case of continuous deployment. That is a short introduction to DevOps for you. So as it is mentioned here, DevOps integrates development, operations, and testing as a single entity that delivers a quality product to the client. Okay, so in DevOps, if you see, there are four principles. Ideally, DevOps has 5 set of principles. 7 principles are there in DevOps, but it mainly focuses on 5 most important things, friends, in DevOps. The first one is bring change in the entire team. DevOps never suggests that only one person should start using or implementing DevOps. No, DevOps will not be successful in that way. When you are looking for or you are applying for a DevOps engineer, or you are looking for a role of DevOps engineer, DevOps executive, somebody who wants to introduce DevOps to their project team, then it is not just one person. It is a cultural transformation for the entire team. The second rule or thumb rule in DevOps which is followed is automate all the manual workflows. Wherever you have manual workflows, like manual testing is happening, no version controlling is happening, infrastructure is being maintained manually, automate the entire process. So when we talk about automation, it is the automation tools that will come into picture. So start using automation tools, and then with automation we have to start using open source tools preferred, right? Easier access tools that are easily in which you can easily code. No special skills are required, so that everybody can work with those tools, right? That's some fundas of DevOps that we want to follow. So DevOps, mainly the main thumb rule in DevOps is Main thumb rule in DevOps is automate each and every workflow. Now, in one of those, so I was talking about the principles of DevOps. In that, the very first principle of DevOps is first principle of DevOps is continuous version controlling, continuous development, continuous testing. Okay, and then we have configuration management and release management, containerization, and continuous monitoring. So we are going to take the fourth principle, that is continuous configuration management and release management, for today's class. What is DevOps release management? Let's look at it. What do you understand by release management, friends? Just one moment, friends. Yeah. What do you understand by release management? What is your understanding, friends? Come on, can you put in some thought to it? What is release management? So let's go through this slide. Release management is a process of, let's underline the keywords here. It's a process of managing, planning, scheduling, and controlling a software build. What is a software? What is a software, friends? Come on, tell me. What is a software? An application. Your calculator is a software. Your the PPT that we are using is a software, right? The GoToMeeting that we are connecting is a software. So somebody would have developed this software and given it to us to use, right? But when a software, any application that you are giving to the user for use, right, that application, when you're giving it to a user, you would have developed it. So during the development activities and during the build activities, there is a process that we have to follow. That process is release management. It's a process of managing, planning, and scheduling, controlling a software build through different stages and environments. Different stages, what are different environments? We have a development environment, QA environment, and production environment, right? Which includes testing, deploying the software, releases. Here, what is planning, scheduling, and controlling? Let's understand these. So whenever a requirement is given to the given by the users, whenever a requirement is given by the users, okay, so here whenever the requirements are given to the from the users, these requirements are shared with the development team. So that falls in the planning stage, right? Once the requirements are given to the development team, they develop the code and it will test it to find the vulnerabilities and defects in it. Once the code has been tested and there are no more defects in it, the code is ready and it has been packaged into an artifact. What is the next step? The next step is to deliver the build code into the next environment, the test environment especially. So the planning here involves is when a build is ready, when an artifact is ready, okay, when should it be delivered? That is scheduling. When should it be delivered to the next environment? Let us say in our case, QA environment. When should it be delivered in the QA environment? We need to schedule the date and time when the build will be placed in the QA environment. That planning and scheduling has to be done. Now, when you apply a build into the QA environment, you just do not just copy paste it over here. For this build to work, there will be some dependency needed. Maybe for this code to work, we need Java 8. We need to plan even for this. We need, let's say, Ubuntu operating system on the QA server for this code to work. Right? So making these changes, planning the underlying dependencies for the build to work in the required environment. That's part of release management, releasing your software to the next environment, right? So that it is successfully available to the testers. And then later release, same planning and scheduling the moving of this build into the next environment, staging environment, and then finally to the production environment. So just to summarize, release management is the process of planning, scheduling, and controlling your software, which is to be given into the test environments, staging environments, and production environments later. So as part of release management, you ensure when it should be delivered, who will deploy the code in the particular environment. If this code is deployed, what all it is going to affect, we have to make a note of that also, right? And what changes are needed for this code to work, we also need to make a note of it. Which user will make changes to the required environment, even that has to be planned and controlled. So I will move on to the next slide here. So we have understood what is release management. What is DevOps release management? Okay, so release management is a common process in yeah. So release management is part of the SDLC process. It is available in Agile. It is available in Waterfall, and now it is also available in DevOps. But how it is implemented in the process is different. Okay. Now here in DevOps, release management is a process of continuously planning the changes that are to be done in an environment, scheduling those changes continuously, and ensuring that whatever is to be released to QA or the staging environment is successful. IT operations, that is operations team and developers, collaborate from the very beginning of the process till the end in DevOps, so as you get continuous feedback. Okay, so let us say I will take an example here. Let us say the developer has written a code for an application and the code needs Java. Okay, in case of DevOps, the development team and the operations team will communicate with each other. So whatever requirement is being built, the development the operations team is very well aware of it. So they know that they are going to get a Java based code and for which Java 8 is needed in their environment. So in the next environment, let us say the production environment, they will ensure Java 8 is available before the code is delivered. So they will plan and make changes into the environment if needed before time, so that the code when placed in the production environment is successful. They both, the dev team and the operations team, collaborate with each other in the very beginning. They both are responsible to understand the requirement, okay, and build the code with the required dependency, deliver the code to the production. Okay, and once it is delivered, and why should it all be done manually? So in DevOps, everything is done automatically. It is not a person's job to deliver the code to the production team. It's a process which is created. We call it as a pipeline. If the code has been built successfully, tested successfully, automatically it will be released to the next environment. Creation of this pipeline comes as part of DevOps, so that there is less feedback and faster delivery. What are the different components? Let's talk about the different components of release management here. So here are the different components of release management, as I was talking about a pipeline. So first and foremost, we will have a release pipeline, release value stream, release policy, template, and plan. Then you have a deployment plan, release unit, package, major releases, and minor releases. Let us understand these components step by step. So first and foremost, your code will be, let's say for a feature, for an application, you have built a code. Once the code has been developed and tested thoroughly, we will create a pipeline for it to be released to the next environment. Over there, we will write the required policies and template as to when it has to be released and what are the underlying dependencies. A deployment plan is created. Whether the deployment is going to happen on which server, when it is going to happen, what is needed for the deployment is planned here. Who is going to do the deployment? Then the release unit is packaged and released. You can have your releases in two sections: major releases or minor releases, friends. So let's see what is pipeline, release pipeline, a particular release process from planning to the delivery. Okay, so you plan that these are the requirements that we have to build. These are the requirements we have to develop and test and deliver. A value stream is a process where you add or create a value across the pipeline. Let us say the users come in with a new change. So you can analyze the change in the current pipeline and add and create it to the existing pipeline. Then what comes under policies? So policies basically consist of what type of releases are you going to give, what standards and the rules that you're going to follow as per the organization. Then we maintain a template for the workflow that has to be followed while releasing and releasing a application or a feature to the next environment, either manually or automatically. So there will be a workflow which will be set up. A release plan has to be decided. It's a structured plan where you define a specific release, and finally it will be deployed to the production environment. A release unit is an artifact that is released for a specific feature. What is an artifact? A package. Your code is compiled, tested, and packaged. That's called as an artifact, which has been tested thoroughly and it is working fine. Releasing that artifact is called as release unit. A release package is a combination of multiple artifacts that are released together, or they're scheduled to be released together. That's a package. A set of units, a set of release unit is called as a package. Then we have major releases and minor releases. Infrequent releases. Major releases are like, once a month there is a big release happening. So organization to organization it differs. Some people want the changes to be available immediately as they're developed and tested. Minor, minor small releases that can happen, or a huge 3-4 requirements are developed, tested, and then released together, that have a higher impact on the business. The critical applications is what are part of major releases. Now we have structured, so here this is a middle, deviating from the flow. It's basically Edureka added one slide to show how we teach at Edureka. So basically the DevOps, so deviating from the release management for a minute, friends, just to guide you how the DevOps certification training happens in Edureka. So basically there is a very structured format that we follow in DevOps training, wherein first we have total 12 modules where we teach you about the topic. Then we give you a hands-on. We talk about Git, GitHub, Maven, Jenkins, as one of you were asking. Yes, Jenkins, Maven, Git is is continuous integration tool. They fall under DevOps. Then we also give you hands-on and different categories in every tool. Then we have a module with respect to dedicated only to Jenkins. With every module, there is a dedicated hands-on given to you. We have configuration management tool as Ansible. Now, friends, note that earlier SDLC release management was a separate category. With DevOps, it's configuration management and release management are together, friends. Okay, what is configuration? Making changes to the server. Release management, planning what changes to be done, when the changes to be done, who will do the changes, what impact the change will cause. That's release management. And that in DevOps it comes under configuration management itself. So we will be learning Ansible as a tool over there. We have Docker, we have okay, why are they not putting container? So we have containerization tool like Docker, Kubernetes. We have monitoring tools like the Prometheus and Grafana that we will be teaching you, and you have certain self-paced course also. Okay, so going back to the release management, friends, going back to release management, let us see strategies of release management. What are the different strategies that an organization can implement for release management? You can have a particular release window, that is the clients can give you we are going to release, let's say every month or every week on Friday. There could be a particular day time, night 12 o'clock is when the release is going to happen on the following date. So you can decide, clients will give you a release window during which all your artifacts that have been built and tested thoroughly will be released to the production. So this is a slow release because so we can say release package will be taken and put it in the production environment. Another one is a release train that is continuous. Okay, and then is release window, wherein you have frequent releases. Not every moment, but frequent small windows are given to you to release your code to production. Then you have continuous release availability, that is using an automation tool like Jenkins, you are continuously releasing your product to the production environment. That's continuous release, friends. Now here is the release window. A release window is a period of time in which one or more teams release into the production. Release train is a period of time where every team involved with the train has same release package. Okay, let's say you are building a bigger application, so there are multiple teams involved in it. Every team has a product to release. So in that pipeline, all the team members, their packages will be released to the production within the same window. That's a release train. Then you have release window quick. That means releases are less likely to suffer from the bottleneck challenges associated with slow releases. That is, frequently you have release windows, so small changes you can release. Continuous release availability, wherein teams are allowed to release their solutions into the production whenever they want. Okay, many organizations follow this like process, like Google, Netflix, Amazon. All of them follow the continuous release availability process. They develop an application, test it, and immediately release it to the production environment. Now, this releasing of that immediately releasing it to the production environment cannot be done manually. You don't need a schedule for it, but it has to be done with an automation tool. So Jenkins, Hudson, TeamCity, such tools will be really useful for you. The benefits of release management. What are the benefits of release management that you can think of, friends? Come on. Can you tell me some of the benefits? So far, we have learned about what is release management, categories of release management, cycle, how you have to release it. Now, what are the benefits of release management? So here you see faster deliveries, friends. First, okay. So let's say if you have a very complex project that is being developed and which has to be built, it has multiple phases. So you break your project into multiple releases and slowly you release them to the product, to the users, first to for UAT and then to the production environment. So there is a proper plan that you have to build and deliver the product to the client. So release management also, I want to make a point here, release management also falls under the change management, where you develop the product, where the requirements are given by the stakeholders, and then you write and follow a compliance to deliver that product to the users continuously. So the benefits of release management is the delivery to the client is done very frequently with less risk to the deployment, right? And high release throughput, faster delivery, and the new features, agility here, new features can be delivered to the client with flexibility. More productivity, right? When you have multiple applications, you are able to deliver frequently, so more productivity. And less because we can use an automation tool also. If you're using an automation tool to release your application to the production environment, then no duplicacy, no manual errors will occur, right? And we will have, with the help of the tools, we'll have less failures and less risk involved over there. These are some of the benefits of release management. So what are the different release management tools that we have in the market that you can use? XBL Labs is there, Octopus Deploy, Chef is available, Jenkins is available, Urban Code is available, SaltStack is available. These are the different release management tools that you can use in the market for implementing release management. So what happens in release management? First, request will come for a new feature. You will plan, you will design how the requirement has to be built. Then development activities will occur using a programming language and a framework. Developers will develop the application. Then we will review it and we will verify it, validate it, test it, right? And then we will then deploy it, right? And finally monitor it. All of this process can be automated with the release management tool, like Jenkins being the topmost. Chef can be done, Ansible can be used for it. Okay, yeah, that's all, friends, we had for release management. Now what are the, so before we end the session, I still have some more time, so let's also talk about the challenges that release management can address. Okay, what are the challenges that release management is addressing? So many organizations, if you will see, no friends, many organizations, if you will see, they are not okay. So many companies, many organizations, they lack this process of release management. Okay, that's why they get into the problem when they're deploying the code. Many bugs are released to the production environment, deployments fail, causing loss of lot of time and money, and repetition of a process again and again. Rework, lot of rework will be there. Basically, release management is introduced in the industry for a disciplined way to address the challenges of deployment. Many organizations are struggling to deploy the code from development, testing to production environments, friends, right? Uh, they don't have proper knowledge on how to mitigate the issues if the code fails in production environment. Rollback strategies are not available. With the help of release management system, we can also ensure there is less conflict between the teams, and there is less friction between a development team and operations. And many delivery teams in the organizations use release management plans and their templates to work efficiently. Now, release management in Agile, if you have to use release management in DevOps or in Agile, if you're using it, it's one of the critical connector between the development team and the production team. Release management will verify the integrity of the code that is written, and it will make sure that it is functioning as planned. And whereas in Agile, if you see, in case of Agile model, you know that everything is broken down into small pieces, right? So when one sprint is completed, with the help of release management, you can integrate the code and deliver it to the client very easily. Now let's take one more topic, like how can you improve the release management? Already, let's say you already are having the process of release management in your organization, but how can we improve it, or what improvements do you think in case of release management? So improving your organization's release management capabilities requires for you to understand what is the current state, what is current process of releasing the product to the client. You should know quantitative, you should know in two ways: quantitatively and qualitatively. You should know both the things. By quantitatively, I mean you should gather metrics, you should gather average release time, how much time it is taking to release a feature, what type of releases you are giving to the client, what is the priority of releases, how many errors are occurring, is there any delayed release, right? These metrics are much needed for you to understand your release process in the organization. Quantitatively, that was. Qualitatively, you should talk to the people who are actually under the release team. So in organizations, we have release management teams. So talk to those people, ask them, check their environment that they're using, right? Talk to the operations team, ask them the difficulties, the reality issues that they are facing, challenges that they are facing. You can handle release management by establishing a regular release cycle using the tools that we just spoke about. Choose any one of the tools in this, and using this tool, try to set up a basic release cycle in your organization for consistency. Try with minor releases first, put lightweight releases in place, right? Then start working on the DevOps culture later, right? As part of DevOps culture is implement automation everywhere. First, start with smaller lightweight releases, then the entire process can be automated. Basically, when you start with lightweight releases, it allows you to establish your infrastructure for release early. You will be ready. What release is going to come, you already have an idea about it. Your infrastructure should be ready for it. And you will have time to revise. You need to make changes to it. You will have some time. And over the time, you will see that once you have automated the process, over the time, you will see that the pipelines that you create, the templates that you create for release management, it becomes a standard practice in your team. Okay, you will be able now also friends, many a times it so happens that we create pipelines, we create the process, but it's not very good, it's the quality is not great. So you need to continuously work on the process that you have implemented and improve its efficiency. Okay, now one more point I would like to make here is you can minimize the impact of release to your users by eliminating the downtime and the testing regression. Many a times when we are releasing the application to the client, there is a delay because regression testing is not completed, or there is a downtime of particular environment downtime is there, so you are not able to release the application. You can avoid it if you are using a proper release management process. Okay, you can in order to reduce the downtime and in order to reduce the testing time, you can think of you can think of automating testing verification. If testing is automated, your releases can be very fast, you can release to the client. Basically, it takes time, basically friends, for release management to implement release management in the organization. It takes time to grow. Okay, your infrastructure should get used to this release management tools. Okay, you need to invest some time, invest people in the release management tools and techniques. Also, as DevOps simply says, improve the communication across the entire team. So thereby get into the call every day, understand each other's challenges and the blocker issues in the team. Let the people know that this release was good, this release has failed, this product is being developed, following product will be delivered, will be released. So everybody knows what development team is doing, what release team is doing, what operations team is doing. Okay, make sure everyone on the team understand the goals and risk, and be sure to communicate with each other. So we also have release managers in the companies who take care and navigate through these complex projects and development methods, setting up of infrastructure, talking to all the stakeholders, coordinating the efforts among everyone who will contribute to the release. So we have release managers who take care of it. Their main job will be to report to the management team of the organization, even to the CEO levels also, to to tell them what release is on the way. Now some of the now there is also some myths around release management. You know what, uh, with using release management, some people feel that first myth could be customers want to stay up to date. Release management means a customer is aware of what's happening and when the release will be coming to the production environment. But in reality, customers only care about the updates they are being provided about the functionality. If the release does not meet their expectation, they ask you to build a login page but you gave them logout page, it does not matter whether you have released on time or not, it does not matter. They always bother about what is being delivered to them, whether that requirement that they have given, have you built it or not. If it comes on time, it's a plus point, brownie point for you. So first myth with release management is customers want to stay up to date about what development is happening, what testing is happening. No, they are not bothered, friend. What requirement they have given, that should be delivered. Okay, then new releases, so many times in release management we always feel frequent releases, new releases is always the best depending upon the use case of the customer. An older release may work fine. Let's say I delivered an image of version 1, it's working fine. My new release with feature 2 has come in. When I release that feature, the application which was working earlier is now not working. So it is not that every release will be successful, every release will be best if you're following a release management pipeline or template or tool. Okay. Next, friends, another myth which we have in release management is fixes can wait until the next major release. So what organizations do is they start fixing the bugs and wait for a major release and push all those bug fixes also with. Unfortunately, that next major release never comes up, it's never on time. Let's say today 1st of Jan I made some bug fixes, Next major release is 31st of Jan. So for 1 month, my bug fixes are waiting till 31st of Jan for the major release to happen. So that's a myth here. Fixes can wait until the next major release, because next major release we don't know when it is going to happen. Okay. And another thing is customers always want a new feature. That's not the case. Again, customers just give you the requirement, they want that to be delivered as and when decided date. Now release, another myth is releasing is often bad. So that's not the case, friends. Of course, if you have developed it correctly, tested it thoroughly, release will be good only. As long you do not release it to your you, let's say you develop something and you directly release it to your customer. Your frequent releases are not harmful. You can deliver frequently to the customer with a shorter feedback cycle, with a shorter deployment cycle to them. You can give them often, which is also good, because they gave a requirement, give them frequently. So good. So the myth was here, frequently releasing is bad. No, friends. As you have developed, give it to the customer until and unless it is impacting the working feature. If it is not impacting, it's good to give them frequent. Okay. So next, another myth is whenever you release a product, there is a release note also waiting. So customer reads the release notes also. So we spend some time in preparing the release notes. That's a myth. Depends upon client to client. I would not comment over there, but they don't. Many a times they read, many a times they don't. Okay, it's their choice. Okay, so these were some of the myths that I wanted to give you extra information about release management. All right, everyone, then I will sign off for today's class. Hope you all have enjoyed the training. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.